What's up, y'all? That is a tune called the Gander in the Pratie hole. I don't know if it's a particularly common session tune. It's common around here. It tends to pop up fairly often, but I don't know if that's kind of a regional thing. I really like it, particularly at kind of a more mellow tempo like that. That's one that, to my ear anyway, doesn't sound great played at Mach 3, but more of a marchy tempo, it really jumps out, I think. I think it sounds really nice. I'll start with the basic melody. I'm playing it on flute, but of course you could play it on whistle if you were so inclined. Don't really have to dive into anything too fancy with keys or anything, but if you are playing it on flute, there's some kind of handy breath tricks that you can do that we'll get to when we get into the ornaments and the variations and that sort of thing. But for now, basic melody. The tune is in G-ish, but it starts on a D chord arpeggio. So here's the basic melody. So that beginning, basically just a D chord. And it carries on. So fairly repetitive, really just kind of bouncing around between that D chord. So here's that whole section. And then the final bit here, the first part is a repeat. And it's a big octave jump all the way up to the high G, which is a pickup note here. So that last little phrase is a repeat, but that jump there, that's one you're going to want to make sure you've got nice and confidently, because you're going from a low F sharp. And you want to make sure you can hit that jump nice and cleanly. Play the whole A part all the way through nice and slow. That's the whole section. Hopefully you got that. B part is also fairly repetitive. It's a little bit different though. It starts on the A. Run that section again. Second section is a bit of a repeat. Almost exactly a repeat, except that we're ending on that C natural instead of kind of rolling around back to the phrase. Play those two bits together. And the third section, again, is a repeat. And this last section ought to sound familiar. A repeat of the end of the A part. A whole B part all the way through. Cool. That's the whole melody. Now, ornaments on this tune, because it's so repetitive, these are the ones that really make me excited and make me interested to play, because I think that's where you can find a lot of gold, by digging around in these fairly repetitive bits. So, very rhythmic, very jig appropriate. That's not the right word at all. Hopefully has the right jig groove that we're going for. So, to get that, you can lean on a couple of those notes, either using your breath, hitting those offbeats, hitting those low Ds, hitting the F sharps. Either way, or you can use actual finger ornaments, where you're sliding into that F sharp. I use a lot of double taps on this, so nice and slow, or up tempo, where it's real quick, just a blip. Same thing on that E as I land on that, popping that top finger. That's another way to accent those F sharps in the arpeggio, or whichever beat you choose to accent. You can do that same double tap. So every time you hit that, you can tap that one if you want. Another way to just accent it. Now, making that big octave jump, I do like to cut that that G that you land on, and I'll double tap that F sharp just because I like how it sounds. So a few things there. Again, the cut on the F sharp, double tap on, or cut on the G, double tap on the F sharp. As I'm doing those E's, I'll do that double grace note thing, which I've mentioned on the whistle a few times. Now, as you're playing this tune, you may have caught that sometimes I'm playing C sharp, sometimes I'm playing C naturals. This is one of those tunes that's got about 1 million different settings. Some people will play it a C sharp in certain places, some people won't. Use your discretion, and I would say go with what's happening around you. If everybody's playing C sharps, play C sharps. If not, you know, mix it up and see how it sounds. Now the ending phrase, that kind of walk down thing, that's one of my favorite things to do with the flute is landing on a strong G like that. G has always kind of felt like a softer note, and to be able to punch it both with the diaphragm with some breath and with the finger. So as you're going from one note to the next, you kind of accidentally land on the note below it and slide off that quickly. And then for good measure, I'll do that double tap on the F sharp as well. You can end it a couple of different ways, landing on those. There's 2 Ds back to back, so you could just use your breath to interrupt the 2 notes, or simple cut with the top finger there, or you could actually land on the D a little bit differently here. I don't know if you can hear that. All I'm doing is, as I go from the F sharp to the D, popping this top finger off. Cool little bubbly effect. B part also repetitive, bouncing between the A and the D. So up top high, I like to use crayons there. Simple cut works as well, but the crayon just jumps out of this thing so well. Oh, and I will do a short roll to start the phrase. Not entirely necessary, but and probably not one I would do every time, but to start it, going from the A part to the B part, accents us a little bit. So I'm not going straight into a crayon. I am using breath control to split that a little bit. Hopefully you can hear that. I'm separating 2 Ds and then doing that crayon on the top of it. There's really not much else I'll do on that phrase because it's just sort of turning around the higher D to the C natural to the A, and it, I don't know, doesn't seem like it needs a whole lot. I think that just kind of works as is. And then that same phrase to finish, I would do the same sorts of things. Hopefully you like this tune. To me, it's simple, which I think is great. Gives you some room to mess around, and hopefully will give you some room to mess around at a mellow tempo. I would say stick with that. Don't try and make this thing just fly, because I think it sounds pretty good slower. Let me know what y'all think. See y'all on the next one. Cheers.